It's halftime on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM. We're on the go at sasportstar.com. Mike Jimenez here with you till 2 o'clock. Sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. You know, 12:30 at Wednesday means one thing during the football season. We get to talk about Incarnate Word football. We have head coach G.J. Kinne with us again this week. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very, very, very well. You know, last game was a bit of a heartbreaker, man. That had to be very, very devastating. Losing first game of the season. Now, UIW was 3-0 to start the season. Lost to Southeastern Louisiana 41-35 on the last play of the game. It was a 59-yard pass for touchdown. Very devastating way to lose that game. How's the team doing, and how difficult was it coming home from that loss?
Yeah, it was very difficult, but we got a resilient group of guys on this team and coaches, and we came back to work. You know, that's what I challenged them to do in the locker room after the game is, you know, this one's going to hurt. You know, let it marinate for 24 hours, flush it, and we got to go back to work. And that's exactly what they've done. That's
got to be a shock, man, because, you know, there are certain ways of losing, and that one's called the gut punch, right? That's the one where you think you're going to overtime, still have a chance to win. It looked like a pretty rough crowd out there. It seemed to be. I mean, you were on the road, but it's one of those things you take a look at, and we talked about this last week. You guys were ranked 4th nationwide in the FCS rankings, and because of that, you guys have a target. I mean, you are the Super Bowl for a lot of these schools.
Yeah, exactly right. And they came out to play. Give those guys a lot of credit. Coach Sofo had those guys ready to go, and they came out and executed really well. And they're a really good football team. They're preseason conference favorites for a reason. They got a good team. So no excuses on our end. We got to go out and play better, execute better, coach better, all above. So our guys, they've worked extremely hard this week in practice, and I think it's probably been our best week of practice so far. So hopefully that translates Saturday.
Talking to head coach G.J. Kinne of Incarnate Word, head football coach. You know, you said that you have to just flush it down after 24 hours. How do you do that? You know, how do you come back on a Monday or a Tuesday of practice and say, okay, we got a game. We got McNeese State. It's a home game here in San Antonio. How do you get that mentality turned back on so that they're not just dwelling on what happened Saturday?
Yeah, we came in here on Sunday. We had a team meeting. I told these guys that don't waste a mistake. You know, there's a lot of mistakes out there on the field. You know, learn from it. We got to bounce back. And I think our guys, like I said, they're very resilient. They came back to work on Tuesday, and they had a really good week of practice. And our guys, they'll be ready to go for Saturday.
Now, offensively, still putting up some numbers out there. Your quarterback is doing a fantastic job. What makes him so consistent out there when it comes to what he's doing? Because the numbers seem to be identical week after week after week.
Yeah, Lindsey does a really good job preparing throughout the week, probably better than any quarterback I've been around. And I've been around some really good ones. You know, he's locked in all meetings on the practice field. He treats it like a game. You know, he goes home at night and we've actually asked him about his preparation. He said he spends about, 2.5, 3 hours every night rewriting his notes from meetings, rewriting the plays that we're installing that week. And he's just a student of the game. He's a professional in everything he does. So Lindsey's a stud, and I'm very lucky to have him not only on the field, but his leadership. And after the game in the locker room, he gave a speech to those guys, and I didn't have to say much because he kind of took over. And that's what you want. You want a player-led team and the quarterback position to really take over, and he's done that. So just blessed to have Lindsey, and he's a tremendous player.
Incarnate Word football coach G.J. Kinne with us right now, talking about his quarterback, Lindsey Scott Jr., who was 27 for 38, 333 yards, 3 touchdowns. You said in the past you believe he's the best quarterback in this conference. The Southland Conference, this was a conference game that was there. So now, after starting the season 3-0, you now begin conference play and at 0-1, starting from behind there. Got a big game against McNeese State. What do you have to work on right now the most? You take a look at the team right now. You've seen 4 games. There's a lot of tape now, not only for you to view, but also for other opponents to view as well. What do you think right now when you look at your team and say, we need to focus on this as an area of improvement?
I think just overall execution, all sides, offense, defense, special teams. We just have to execute better. And I think that starts in practice. And we've been practicing well, but I think sometimes when you have a loss like that, it refocuses you. Like I told the guy, that was my message to the team: don't waste a mistake. Be resilient. Get back to work. That's why football is such an amazing sport, the best sport there is, because it teaches you life lessons. Everything in your life's not going to go the way you want it, the way you planned it. How are you going to react to that? How are you going to overcome adversity? So our guys have done that this week, and I'm excited. I'm excited for Saturday for those guys to get out there and play.
It was your first loss ever as a head coach. It's your first year as a head coach, but you've been part of a lot of different school coordinator and whatnot. Is it possible that maybe a loss is a good thing in the sense that it gets you back, refocuses you? I'm taking a look even at the NFL. I mean, the Bills lost to the Dolphins, for crying out loud. They play that game 100 times. The Bills probably win it 90 times, right? But the fact of the matter is it possible to look at this and go, okay, it resets the team. We get back to normal. We get back in focus again.
Now losing is way overrated. It is, especially as a head coach. I'm telling you that it hits a little different than you're as a coordinator or position coach. But I think, just like I said, you can't waste a mistake. We had plenty of mistakes out there. We shouldn't have lost the game. But it is what it is. And I think our guys have refocused. The leaders of this team have come out and really pushed the other guys. And so they've come to work this week, and that's all you can ask.
Head coach GJ Kinne with us from Incarnate Word. Got McNeese State. What's it like to be back home? I mean, that's got to be exciting because it's been a while since you've played back in the 2-1-0.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting to be back home in front of a home crowd and not have to deal with the travel and that whole deal. And so I think our guys will be locked in and put on a show for the fans.
Now, the kickoff is going to be at 6 o'clock, I believe, on Saturday night. What can you tell us about McNeese State? What kind of team are they? What can we anticipate?
Yeah, they have a new coach as well. Coach Goff has done a good job implementing what he wants to do offensively and defensively, and on special teams. They're very sound. They run the ball really well. They have two really good running backs. On defense, they give you a lot of different looks, try to confuse the quarterback. They're going to stop the run. They're going to try to stop the run. That's kind of what their defense is built around. So we got to be ready. We got to be able to run the ball. We got to be able to, throw the ball and make our plays when that time comes. One-on-one matchups. They're very athletic. He's recruited really well. Another guy that went into the portal and signed a couple of guys that are making a big impact. So he's doing a good job. They're historically a very good program, a good team. So we know that. So our guys will be ready to play.
Again, McNeese State is the opponent this weekend, Saturday at Incarnate Word. McNeese State lost the first 3 games of the season, but coming off a win from last week. So they're hoping to ride some momentum into San Antonio. Again, go support the UIW Cardinals. We do talk pop culture here, Coach Kinne, and I like to get to know you. Okay. I've asked you questions in the past about music, about the music that you like listening to and things like that. I was reading an article. Hope you don't mind me asking you these questions out of left field. All right. Reading an article, and it's the actor Tom Hanks, one of the greatest actors of the last 30, 40 years. He says out of the 100 movies he's done, he thinks only 4 of them were actually good. Do you have a favorite Tom Hanks movie, or maybe a Mount Rushmore of Tom Hanks movies?
I'll give you 2, Forrest Gump. That's Tom Hanks, right?
Yes, that is Tom Hanks.
Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm not a movie guy. Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump and Castaway.
Castaway. You know what? I've seen a lot of movies of Tom Hanks. Like I look at his list, his IMDb of movies, and I'm like, I've seen that one, I've seen that one, I've seen that one. Castaway is actually one that I'm ashamed that I have never seen before.
Oh.
I'm a Tom Hanks guy, but we'll be talking more about him on the other side. I'm going to give my Mount Rushmore of Tom Hanks movies. That is head coach GJ Kinne of University of Incarnate Word, UIW head football coach, taking on McNeese State Saturday, 6 p.m. Coach, good luck.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
All right, man. I know you'll get back to your winning ways. Incarnate Word now ranked 11th in the FCS poll.